All right, so we are back, and I mean that in every sense of the word. Back in California after an amazing trip out to the BK, Brooklyn. I had a very special tour guide, and I appreciate the city on a new level now. Anyway, there are 3 words that just flipped the entire YouTube boxing game on its head. KSI is back. And he dropped a trailer with some Easter eggs of possibly where he's fighting, possibly who he's fighting, and some things I think a lot of people completely missed. Now we're gonna get into this trailer, but before we do, guys, I just want to make sure you know we are live this Saturday. Canelo Alvarez, Dimitri Bivol, but also UFC 274, Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira. It's a dual live stream. I'll be here at 6 p.m. and it's brought to you by the W.A.D.E concept and the sponsor of today's video, MyBookie. That's right, guys. MyBookie.ag is the spot to be for all of your sports betting. And if you're going to throw some money down on this fight Saturday, you're going to want to use promo code WADE when you sign up at MyBookie for up to $1,000 in deposit match bonuses. And you don't want to miss out because on the UFC side, the fights are razor thin, and Dimitri Bivol, let's just say he's no pushover, and Canelo moving up weight, it creates a dangerous fight. So if you're wanting to pick an upset, if you want to pick an underdog in this one, the money on Bivol is almost too good to pass up. So use code WADE once again when you sign up at mybookie.ag. Again, up to $1,000 in deposit match bonuses. And as always, guys, if you are of legal age and want to gamble, make sure you do so responsibly. Thank you to MyBookie for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get into the return of the nightmare. KSI returns to boxing August 27th, but his trailer shows a little more than that. The breakdown, let's go. All right, so this trailer opens up with a shot of a skyline, and I think some people thought this was London, but it's actually Los Angeles. You see the city, you see the 5 freeway, you see the Bank of America building, and it's a representation of KSI's last fight, right? He's coming back after a long hiatus, and they're showing Los Angeles because that's where Logan Paul and KSI 2 is held. Now from there, we get something that's very odd because there's 2 different versions of this trailer. One version, which is on Twitter, shows a pan up from the seating, and again, what I assumed was Los Angeles, but it shows Showtime pay-per-view. That clearly says MVP Promotions, and on the far right says Barstool Sports. Now, a lot of you guys are reaching out and saying, what the hell is this? Is this Jake versus KSI? Is this Alex versus KSI? Because Jake is managing Alex unofficially. They said they were advising him. He's not really on the roster. I don't think it was any of that. I think KSI's team, whoever edited this thing together, ripped footage and pulled it from Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley 1. Maybe it was to throw people off. Maybe it was to get people talking. I don't know if it was a flat out mistake. The reason I know something's off is because the Instagram version of this same video shows the KSI versus Logan 2 fight and shows the DAZN/Matchroom Boxing fade into that fight. The differences in these trailers are only those 2 scenes, and it's just kind of odd to see. Either way, it's a fun little Easter egg. I just don't think there's a lot to it. So from there, you feel the music starting to get more intense, and you see the evolution of what was phase 1 of the YouTube boxing scene. KSI all the way back to the Joe Weller fight when he's walking out in his white robe and his black trunks, and they transition to the Logan 1 fight where KSI, the Nightmare, was wearing his red and blue in London, just showing his continued evolution in this game, and doing so while also illustrating that hard work went into it, which is shown when they pan to Vidal's gym that he worked in with KSI, the hands on top of the cage, putting in the work to gain those levels and evolve in this scene. So this next clip is Payoff, right? We see the clip build, and KSI's walking to the ring, and finally they pay that off with some fighting and training clips. They don't show anything of KSI fighting Logan in this trailer, at least not so far, which I thought was pretty interesting. All it shows is him beating up on Joe Weller and him training with Jeff Mayweather, obviously when he was down in Mayweather's camp getting ready for the Logan 2 fight, and it shows him victorious after the Logan 2 fight. Nothing of his technique or his style in those fights, which we know was a little bit different and a little bit unorthodox buttocks, and I think that was done on purpose because they do show him beating the ever-loving out of Joe Weller. And again, that might be some symbolism for KSI saying, I'm going back to the basics. I'm going back to, honing in my technique. Enough of the wild windmill shots over the top. And it would make sense because that is something we've talked about continuously with KSI, that if he wants to beat Jake and he wants to get to the highest level of YouTube boxing once again, he cannot fight the way he did against Logan, at least not exactly the same. That's something, even though this is a lot of reused footage, I think that's the story they're trying to tell. All right, so the trailer ends off, and I think that's true. Jordy in the background, you hear him saying something like, oh my God, or oh, he's going off. I can't exactly make it out. But that's not the big reveal of these last few seconds. It's the boxing promotion KSI will be fighting under, Misfits Boxing, and the date in which KSI is fighting. And you see that promotion in the skyline, a bunch of lights surrounding it. The Nightmare Returns. That's a great little Easter egg on the buildings there. And another Easter egg that myself and my editor found out last night, KSI's M in Misfit Boxing, this logo here, is the Wasserman Boxing W just flipped upside down. It's pretty easy to see, and obviously we know that KSI has been working with Wasserman. But the name of this reveal, Misfits Boxing, tells me that they're going to go outside of the box a little bit here. And maybe the way they do their events will be different. We did hear KSI said he wanted to make this event free. I don't know if that's something he's actually going to do, but Misfits Boxing, this is not going to be your regular boxing promotion. It's going to be different. And then we get the date reveal, August 27th, 2022. That means in the months of July and August, we have rumored, still not confirmed, Austin McBroom and Gibb. We have rumored Logan Paul fighting in August. I'm assuming against Wenderson Nunes. We still don't have confirmation. Jake Paul returns on the 13th. KSI on the 27th. This is the biggest 2 months in YouTube boxing history. It's going to be massive. And KSI, Mams, and people that set this up, I'm sure they did this on purpose because in my opinion, they want to go to war. They want to see how their numbers stack up against Jake and against Austin so that if or when that fight ever does happen, KSI can sit there and say, I'm just as much of a draw, if not more, than you are. So, there is everything. I think that's, again, there wasn't a ton we could take from this trailer other than Misfit Boxing being the new promotion that KSI will be fighting under, the fight date, and just some little Easter eggs here and there that might mean something. Showtime, DAZN, we'll see. Or was just a little petty shot at Jake Paul, or a mistake that they just ran with anyway. But like I said, KSI is back, and the questions we leave off with today, yes, it's important. Who is his opponent? Where is this fight happening? But in my opinion, the most important is KSI fully ready for this return. It looks like he's been training more. It looks like he's getting in better shape. But was this too soon, or is KSI truly a nightmare set to return? I don't have those answers, but very soon, I guess we'll find out.